Well, I guess it's the end of the road for this one. So this is the finished product. Could have been better, could have been worse. We'll see. I did learn a couple of things. I did learn, I think the most important of those things is the fact that I still have a lot to learn. So it's pretty much just dipping my toes into this repaint game. Alright, so this is the camera, nothing on the front, it was painted Zorki text, so that had to go. These two dials had to remain chromed, otherwise all the markings would go as well. And that's pretty much it. I did not paint the serial number, I did not paint the little X here on the flash sink, it's probably not going to be used anyway. I did paint this and this and this, and that's it. On the front, as you already saw, except this little guy, everything is black, including the screws. Now I did not repaint this one because taking it apart is surprisingly tricky. I don't have the right tools for that. The little button is kept in place inside this outer cylinder, thread cylinder, via a very small kind of a circlip thing, and I simply could not take it out. I tried to pry it out with a sharp instrument, but it did not work. And even if it did work, putting it back would have been probably a lot trickier because it's so small. This is the back. I rounded off the corners of the advance lever because they are extremely sharp in the Zorki Force, I don't know why. And this is the bottom. So the locking keys are golden, brass, so polished brass, because they rub against that washer and the paint does not hold. And this is the inside. Now this is textured, as I said on my previous video. I don't really know why it turned out like this. I don't mind it, it's actually nice, but I don't know why. And I guess I have a couple of small errors on that part with the screws, so I will just touch it up with the same paint. So this is the same paint I used to paint the camera, and I filled this little container so that I could actually touch up on various mishaps. Most often the paint on the screws, that's the one that flakes off when you try to screw them. But fortunately it only happened with a couple of screws that I repainted afterwards, so it's not that bad. Just a second, I need to clean my brush. As for the Leatherette, I tried to use some custom Leatherette from Asahi, and that was a total bust for some unknown reason. So this is the Leatherette, it's for the Zorki 4, it's pre-cut, it has a sticky backing, but it doesn't stick. And it's the second time I tried it, and it doesn't stick. It will stick to the flat surfaces, but it will not stick to the corners. Now I tried sticking it dry, sticking it wet. I tried to wet it with water. I tried, like it's presented on the website, I tried to wet it with alcohol. I even tried to use glue over the existing glue. It's not sticking. on one hand it's quite thick and rigid, and that's probably the main reason why this happens. I tried to heat it with a hair dryer. Nothing, it did not stick. So unfortunately I will just use them, the two pieces, as templates for cutting my own leather pieces. Okay, but I didn't have any black leather now, so my client suggested that I would reuse the old leatherette. Obviously, reusing the old leatherette means that it's most likely shrinked and it will not cover nicely. So there's a nice gap all over the place. I had to use some paint in that gap on both sides and on these edges, so there wasn't any visible lines. Otherwise the camera is working nicely and hopefully it will be a user. Okay, that's kind of it. This is the epilogue of this little adventure. I'm not going to stop here, but I need to reevaluate my methods and approach. Learn some new things, especially about preparing the surfaces, priming, paint, what kind of drying process, and so on. And also step up, let's say, the hardware game. Some method of evacuating the vapors to keep everything clean, and yeah, that's pretty much it. For sure, a new compressor, a new paint gun, and hopefully a new weather, because it's so bloody hot that you simply can't paint in these kind of conditions. So for the time being, my painting adventure comes to a temporary halt, and in the meanwhile I will continue messing about with various cameras, probably Soviet, but I think I have some non-Soviet cameras on my horizon, so stay tuned. For sure more series will come. Thank you, see you next time.